Hawaii, 1956. A sugar plantation town where one street decides everything. On one side, the plantation managers, the doctors, the bankers. On the other, everyone who works for them. A 9-year-old boy stands at the curb and watches a Cadillac pull away. Inside it, his classmate Jimmy, Jimmy's mother, and 3 boys from school, heading to a beach house for the weekend. He and his best friend Mike weren't invited. They'd been told why, to their faces, because you're poor kids. That afternoon, he asks his father, a brilliant man, one of the most educated men on the island, "Dad, can you tell me how to get rich?" His father puts down the newspaper, thinks about it, and gives him the only answer he has. "Use your head, son." The boy was Robert Kiyosaki. And the strange thing, the thing this whole series is about, is that the question got answered. Just not by the man he asked. Robert Kiyosaki grew up, he says, with 2 fathers. His real father, the man he calls his poor dad, had a PhD, degrees from Stanford and Northwestern and the University of Chicago, and rose to run education for the entire state of Hawaii. His best friend Mike's father, Rich Dad, never finished the 8th grade. And by the end of their lives, the man with the 8th grade education was one of the richest men in Hawaii, and the man with the doctorate died leaving bills. Was Rich Dad one real man, a blend of several, or a story invented to teach? Kiyosaki has never said, and the book works either way, because the 2 dads are really 2 voices arguing inside one boy's head, and they disagreed about everything. One said, "The love of money is the root of all evil." The other said, "The lack of money is the root of all evil." One told him, "Study hard, so you can find a good company to work for." The other told him, "Study hard, so you can find a good company to buy." But one habit split them most of all. When poor dad saw something he wanted, he'd say, "I can't afford it," and the sentence ended his thinking. Rich Dad banned those words in his house. He made the boys ask a question instead. "How can I afford it?" One shuts your brain off. The other puts it to work. At 9 years old, standing at that curb, Robert chose which voice to follow. But first, before Rich Dad, before any lessons, the boys tried to get rich on their own. And what they did next is the best scene in the book. For weeks, Robert and Mike went door to door asking neighbors to save their used toothpaste tubes. "Business secret," they said. The tubes piled up in a cardboard box by the washing machine until Robert's mother threatened eviction. Then, one Saturday, production began. The family hibachi at full heat. A steel pot on the coals. Milk cartons packed with plaster of Paris lined up on a long table. White powder everywhere. Because in 1956, toothpaste tubes were made of lead. The boys were melting them down and pouring the metal into little plaster molds. Robert's father came up the driveway with a friend and watched his son crack open a mold, and out dropped a lead nickel. 2 9-year-olds, covered head to toe in white dust, grinning like it was Christmas. "You're casting nickels?" "We're doing what you told us," they said. "We're making money." And to his lasting credit, the poor dad sat them down on the front step and gently explained the word counterfeiting, and then told them he was proud of them. "You're only poor if you give up," he said. "Most people only talk and dream of getting rich. You've done something." Then he gave them the tip that changed everything. "If you want to learn how to be rich, don't ask me. Talk to Mike's dad." Mike's father agreed to teach them, with one condition, delivered in 10 seconds. "Take it or leave it. You work for me, I teach you. You don't work for me, I don't. No questions allowed." Robert had a softball game that day. He took the deal anyway. The pay, 10 cents an hour, 3 hours every Saturday, dusting canned goods in one of Rich Dad's little superettes. Excruciating, boring work, and week after week, Rich Dad never even showed up. By week 4, Robert was done. 30 cents a Saturday while his friends played baseball. Even his poor dad was furious on his behalf. Demand 25 cents an hour, and if he says no, quit immediately. So Robert marched over on Saturday morning to have it out, and Rich Dad made him sit in the waiting line behind his warehouse manager and his restaurant managers on a beautiful Hawaiian morning for a full hour. By the time the boy got into the office, he was nearly in tears. "You're a crook. You're greedy. You exploit your workers. You haven't taught me anything." Rich Dad rocked back in his chair and said, "Not bad. Less than a month, and you already sound like most of my employees. Because all of it, the boring work, the vanishing teacher, the hour in the waiting line, was the teaching." "School teaches by talking," Rich Dad said, "but life teaches by pushing you around. And when life pushes, most people just take it. A few get angry and push back. At the boss, at the pay, at the job. Almost nobody stops to ask what the push is trying to teach them. If you think I'm the problem," he told the boy, "you have to change me. If you realize the problem is how you react, then you can change yourself, learn something, and grow wiser." Then he tapped the boy on the head. "Use this." And he took the 10 cents away. Same job, same hours, for nothing. A few weeks into working for free, Rich Dad bought the boys ice cream bars, walked them to a picnic table across from the store, and tried to buy them back. 25 cents an hour. Robert's heart jumped. $1 an hour. His brain screamed, "Take it." $2 in 1956, the richest kid in the world. The new bike, the glove, no one calling him poor again. $5 an hour, more than most grown-ups around them made. The offer had become ridiculous, and somewhere in the ridiculousness, something in both boys went quiet. They said nothing. "Good, Rich Dad," softly. "Most people have a price." And then he explained what he'd been doing, in the passage this book is most famous for. "Our whole lives," he said, "are run by two emotions, fear and desire. Fear of not having money sends you to work. Then the paycheck arrives, and desire takes over. All the things money can buy. So you spend it. And now you need the next paycheck. Get up, go to work, pay bills. Get up, go to work, pay bills." Give people more money, and they don't escape the loop. They just spend more, and the loop tightens. He called it the rat race. "It's the donkey and the carrot," he told them. The owner dangles the carrot in front of the cart, and the donkey pulls and never catches it, because tomorrow there's just another carrot. The trap isn't the job. The trap isn't even the money. The trap is letting fear and desire do your thinking for you. Fear pushing you out the door every morning. Desire spending the money every payday. And rich people aren't safe from it either, he said. Plenty of them play the same game with bigger numbers, more afraid of losing their money than they ever were of being poor. The way out starts with something almost embarrassingly simple. Be honest with yourself about which feeling is doing your thinking. Watch the feeling instead of obeying it. And when fear says, "Go get a job, work harder, ask for a raise," pause long enough to ask one question. Is there something I'm missing here? So, what happens when a 9-year-old works for free, with a head full of, "Is there something I'm missing here?" He starts seeing things. One Saturday, Robert noticed Mrs. Martin, the store manager, doing something he'd never paid attention to. Cutting the covers off the unsold comic books. The top half of each cover went back to the delivery man for credit, and the comic itself went into a box, to be thrown away. Hundreds of comics. Free, worthless, invisible. Unless you were a kid who had stopped looking for a paycheck and started looking for an opportunity. The boys asked the delivery man if they could keep the ones headed for the trash. He agreed, on one condition: they couldn't sell them. So they didn't. They opened a library. A spare room in Mike's basement. Hundreds of comics, 10 cents admission. Read all you want from 2:30 to 4:30 after school. A bargain, since one comic alone cost 10 cents at the store. They hired Mike's studious little sister as head librarian for $1 a week. $9.50 a week, on average, for 3 months. And here's the part Rich Dad was actually teaching. The money came in whether or not the boys were in the room. They were at baseball practice, and the library earned. They were asleep, and the dimes kept coming. Two kids who had been paid 30 cents for 3 hours of dusting cans now had money working for them, which is lesson 1. The sentence the whole book hangs on. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. 2 dads, 1 question, and now you've seen the fork in the road. One father kept saying study hard, find a safe job with good benefits, sincerely, lovingly, and out of fear. The other taught 2 9-year-olds, with dimes and dust and ice cream, to watch the fear and desire in their own chests and think anyway. Kiyosaki spent the next 40 years walking the second road, and this book, the best-selling personal finance book ever written, is his account of what Rich Dad taught him on it. So the rich have money work for them, which raises the obvious next question. What exactly do the rich buy that everyone else doesn't? Rich Dad's answer begins with the most controversial sentence in the book, a claim that has made accountants angry for decades. That the biggest thing you will ever buy, the thing you were always told was your smartest investment, might quietly be making you poorer. Your house is not an asset. Next time, what that sentence means, and what the rich buy instead.